Welcome to Walk In Learn, the place where we really try to cut through all the noise and deliver the most important nuggets of knowledge, from a whole stack of sources. We work to make complex topics clear and hopefully pretty engaging. Imagine a company, think about this, a company you mainly knew for powering really intense video games, suddenly becoming the absolute, like the indispensable backbone of the artificial intelligence revolution. That right there is the amazing story we're diving into today. So our mission on this Walk and Learn session is to unpack NVIDIA's truly remarkable transformation over the last 5 years. We're tracing their journey from 2020 right up to where we are now in 2025.
The heck of a story.
It really is. And to help us navigate this, we've pulled insights from, well, all over the place. Official company press releases, their super detailed financial reports, lots of major media coverage from top tech and business outlets, and even some interesting academic analyses.
It's a good mix.
Yeah, exactly. So by the end of this, you'll understand not just what NVIDIA did, but really how they strategically cornered the market on AI infrastructure. We'll dig into the incredible innovations that made it possible, the just staggering financial implications of this pivot, and also the complex challenges they're facing now as a truly global tech titan. Get ready for some genuine aha moments about the future of AI and how one company really came to define so much of it. Okay, let's unpack this incredible 5-year transformation.
Yeah, and it's genuinely fascinating how NVIDIA played the long game here. Honestly, they were making these moves long before generative AI was even a twinkle in most people's eyes. What really stands out, I think, is how strategically they positioned themselves years ago. They were investing heavily in a future that, well, at the time, many others just weren't imagining at this scale.
Right, it wasn't obvious back then.
Not at all. And that incredible foresight, that long-term vision has now fully paid off. And it's paid off in a way that is profoundly reshaping the entire technology landscape. It's huge. Whether you're using AI in your everyday apps or maybe seeing it pop up more in your work or even just playing the latest video games with those incredibly lifelike AI-enhanced graphics, NVIDIA's influence is truly everywhere.
It's almost invisible sometimes, but it's there.
Exactly. So understanding the story isn't just about one company's success. It's absolutely crucial for anyone trying to make sense of the modern tech world because it's really about the underlying architecture of our digital future, a future that is, well, increasingly powered by AI.
Okay, so let's rewind. Back to 2020. Just a few years ago, right? NVIDIA was, for most people, synonymous with gaming. You knew them for GeForce graphics cards, the power behind the most demanding PC games, giving you those stunning, immersive virtual worlds. But then something truly seismic started happening. From your perspective, looking at the sources, what was the first real indicator that NVIDIA wasn't just like incrementally improving their gaming stuff, but making a deliberate foundational pivot towards something much, much bigger?
That's a great question because, like you said, it wasn't a sudden flip of a switch overnight. It was more gradual, but definitely very intentional. So a strategic evolution. The core idea here, the big shift, is NVIDIA's pivot from being primarily a gaming-centric graphics company to becoming the absolute dominant force in artificial intelligence infrastructure.
AI infrastructure, okay.
And our sources really highlight that this wasn't some accidental stumble into a hot new market. No, it was a very deliberate, calculated investment. They poured resources into high-performance computing, specifically tailoring it for AI, into building robust data center solutions, and into creating enterprise-grade applications. And here's a really crucial point, maybe the biggest aha moment from the early days. This entire strategy, this huge investment, was initiated and significantly funded well before the recent generative AI boom, before ChatGPT just exploded into public consciousness.
So they were seeing around corners, essentially, way ahead of the curve.
Precisely. They were playing chess while others were maybe still setting up the board. The sources we looked at specifically observed that their pre-ChatGPT AI investment strategy has been thoroughly vindicated. Vindicated is the word they use.
Meaning their bets paid off.
Oh.
Big time.
Spectacularly. This gave them an almost unassailable market timing advantage over competitors like Intel, who you could argue were maybe slower to fully commit to this particular vision of the future, at least with the same intensity. And the result, well, simply put, explosive growth, making NVIDIA not just a leading tech company, but quite literally one of the world's most valuable technology companies. It's a real testament to that long-term vision meeting just unparalleled market opportunity.
Okay, so if we zoom out for a second, this wasn't just finding a new market niche. You're saying it was a profound re-architecture of the company's core mission, its whole technology stack. That takes incredible conviction from leadership, like you said, to invest so heavily in something that back then seemed pretty nascent to a lot of people. Now, when we talk about AI infrastructure, let's break that down. For someone listening who might not be deep in the data center weeds, what does that term actually entail? What are we really talking about?
Absolutely. Good question. Think of AI infrastructure as the complete backbone. It's all the hardware and the software that enables artificial intelligence to actually, function at scale. It's not just one thing. It's a whole system, a symphony of technologies working together. So yes, this includes the highly specialized chips, like their graphics processing units, GPUs, which turn out to be amazing for AI calculations. But it's also the sophisticated computing platforms built around those chips, and crucially, the extensive software libraries that make those chips usable and incredibly powerful for AI developers and researchers.
So it's the whole package deal.
Exactly. What makes NVIDIA's position so formidable, so sticky, is their comprehensive ecosystem approach. They don't just sell you a piece of silicon, they provide an entire integrated environment, a whole development world.
Like a complete toolkit for building AI.
That's a great way to put it. And at the very core of this toolkit is their proprietary CUDA parallel computing platform. Think of CUDA as NVIDIA's secret sauce, maybe their operating system for AI on their hardware. It's a software layer that allows developers to relatively easily program NVIDIA's GPUs to do complex parallel processing, which is exactly what deep learning and AI training desperately need. Lots and lots of calculations happening all at once.
Okay, so CUDA unlocks the hardware's power for AI tasks.
Precisely. And then layered on top of that, you have the CUDX libraries. These are like pre-built toolkits specifically optimized for different kinds of AI workloads, things like image recognition, natural language processing, data analytics. They make it much faster for developers to create sophisticated AI models. This complete end-to-end software environment, tightly integrated with their hardware, is a key reason why they've been so incredibly hard to dislodge. It's not just about having the fastest chip, it's about having this entire developer universe that's built around it, and that universe is incredibly sticky. Once you're in, it's hard to leave.
Makes sense. The switching costs are high, not just in money, but in time and expertise.
Exactly. So this really raises a critical question for us looking at this period. How did they manage to build such a dominant position seemingly so quickly? And what were the truly groundbreaking innovations, the specific technologies that allowed them to do it?
Okay, so we've got the strategic pivot, the foresight, the crucial ecosystem with CUDA. But let's get into the specifics. How exactly did they build the technical muscle to pull this off? What are the actual innovations under the hood that let them translate that foresight into such, tangible market dominance? I'm particularly curious about this Blackwell platform I've been reading so much about. The sources really emphasize it. What makes Blackwell such a game changer?
Right. You're absolutely right to highlight Blackwell, because here's where the story gets truly, technically astonishing. At the heart of NVIDIA's AI dominance are these groundbreaking chips and computing platforms, and Blackwell, which started rolling out in 2024 and continues into 2025, it's nothing short of revolutionary. The sources don't mince words. They describe it as a revolutionary AI chip architecture. This isn't just your standard incremental update, 10, 20% better.
So what kind of improvement are we talking?
The performance numbers are just staggering. Blackwell delivers, get this, 25x cost energy improvements compared to their previous generation, the Hopper architecture. 25 times.
25 times. That's not just a big number. That's a seismic shift in capability that fundamentally changes the economics of AI.
It absolutely does. Think about what that means. A 25-fold improvement means AI models that once cost millions of dollars to train and ran for weeks, maybe months. Now, they can potentially be developed for a fraction of the cost and in a fraction of the time. This isn't just enabling more AI, it's making entirely new kinds of AI feasible. Suddenly, smaller startups might have a shot at competing on model scale. It could accelerate scientific breakthroughs, maybe by decades in some fields. It really democratizes access to massive compute power in ways we've only dreamed of until recently.
Wow. And what kind of models can it handle?
This platform is explicitly designed to handle trillion-parameter language models. For listeners, that means AI models with an unbelievably vast and complex understanding of information. Think models capable of incredibly nuanced tasks, advanced language generation that's indistinguishable from human writing, real-time scientific discovery, maybe even designing novel materials or drugs from scratch. It's positioned very clearly in the materials as the next-generation computing platform for enterprise AI. It's built for the biggest, most demanding AI jobs out there.
So Just imagine the kind of AI research and applications that become possible when you have that level of power and efficiency at your fingertips. It literally changes the game. Everything from accelerating drug discovery, like you said, to modeling complex climate change scenarios with just unprecedented accuracy and detail. It's mind-boggling. But here's something I find equally fascinating looking through the reports. Even with this massive company-defining pivot into AI and the data center, NVIDIA hasn't abandoned its gaming roots, right? What have they been doing on that front during this same period?
That's a really crucial point of synergy, and they seem very aware of it. While their data center business has just exploded, NVIDIA absolutely hasn't forgotten the millions, tens of millions of gamers who really helped build the company in the first place. So at CES 2025, for instance, we saw the big GeForce RTX 50 series launch for gaming and creators. This showcased their latest, most advanced GPU technology for desktops and laptops. And interestingly, they really emphasized AI-integrated gaming experiences.
AI in gaming. What does that actually look like for a player?
It means features that rely heavily on AI. Things like advanced AI upscaling, their DLSS technology, which we can talk more about, and realistic ray tracing, which simulates how light actually behaves, creating incredibly immersive and visually stunning graphics. Both of these are heavily accelerated by AI cores on the GPUs. So AI is making games look better and run faster.
And for many people, probably the most direct way they'll experience NVIDIA's AI, even if they don't realize it, is probably through their living rooms or handhelds, right?
Precisely. And this is maybe the most significant example for a massive consumer audience. The highly anticipated Nintendo Switch 2, which all reports indicate will be powered by a custom NVIDIA processor, is expected to feature AI-powered DLSS. Now, for those unfamiliar, DLSS stands for Deep Learning Super Sampling. It's a clever AI technique. The game renders internally at a lower resolution, which is easier on the hardware, and then uses AI, trained specifically for that game, to intelligently upscale the image to a higher resolution, like 4K.
So you get 4K-like quality without the huge performance hit.
Exactly. You get stunning visual quality with far less computational strain. This makes incredible graphics accessible even on portable devices like the Switch 2 is expected to be. It's effectively democratizing advanced AI technology through incredibly popular consumer hardware. It brings high-end visual fidelity, enhanced by AI, potentially to millions and millions of homes.
You know, listening to this, it's not just about the raw horsepower, which is frankly mind-boggling with Blackwell. It feels like they're playing chess, while maybe some competitors are still playing checkers. They've somehow seamlessly woven together these monstrous data center chips with the GPUs in our gaming consoles and PCs. It creates this really cohesive vision. It's almost like they decided, why choose between powering world-changing supercomputers and powering your kid's favorite video game when you can leverage shared technology and R&D across both?
That's a perfect way to put it. And that integration leads us to another key innovation that really cements their AI factory position, something called NVLink Fusion, which they announced around May 2025. Now, this technology is absolutely crucial for scale. It allows for massive scalability and really intricate interconnectedness between GPUs. Essentially, it lets you connect thousands of these powerful Blackwell chips together so they can work almost like a single gigantic AI supercomputer brain. It helps remove traditional bottlenecks that used to limit how big you could build these systems.
Well, so not just selling the superfast chips, they're selling the superfast plumbing needed to connect thousands of them into a cohesive, functioning superorganism.
Precisely. The interconnect is just as important as the chip itself at that scale. And strategically, our sources indicate something interesting here. NVLink Fusion also opens opportunities for non-fully NVIDIA systems. This suggests a smart positioning in what's called hybrid AI infrastructure. It means their interconnect technology might potentially be used to link up systems that aren't 100% NVIDIA hardware, which could extend their reach and influence even further into complex data center environments.
Lever hedging their bets a little, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. Or just recognizing the reality of mixed environments. And throughout all this, we absolutely cannot overstate the enduring importance of the CUA ecosystem. We mentioned it before, but it bears repeating. This proprietary software layer, the parallel computing platform and its huge collection of associated CUX libraries, is consistently cited by industry analysts as a key, perhaps the key differentiator for NVIDIA. It creates this robust, integrated system that is just incredibly challenging for competitors to offer an equivalent end-to-end solution. It's that sticky glue we talked about. It keeps developers invested in building on NVIDIA hardware, generating immense network effects. The more people use CUDA, the more valuable it becomes, the more tools get built for it, and the harder it is for anyone else to catch up.
Right, and you can see that playing out historically, too.
Definitely. Industry analysts have closely tracked how these platforms, specifically the DGX, A100, and H100 systems, which were Blackwell's powerful predecessors, really contributed to their flagship success in the data center markets early on, cementing that initial lead. It's a powerful testament to building a complete integrated system, not just focusing on individual components in isolation.
Okay, it's clear they've nailed the cutting-edge hardware with things like Blackwell, and they've built this incredibly sticky software ecosystem with CUA. But building the future of AI isn't just about design, right? It's also about how they're physically building the infrastructure, how they're investing in fundamental research, and how they're cultivating that entire ecosystem around them, from university students all the way up to global corporations. And the sources show NVIDIA has been making some truly significant moves here, moves that impact supply chains, manufacturing, and even national technological strategy.
They absolutely have. It's a multi-pronged approach. Take, for instance, a really significant announcement from April 14th, 2025. NVIDIA to manufacture American-made AI supercomputers in U.S. for first time. This is described as a historical first. It marks the beginning of actual U.S. manufacturing of AI supercomputers, not just components, but entire systems. Now, this isn't just a political talking point about reshoring. It's a deeply strategic move to secure their supply chain and potentially make it more resilient.
And they're using their own AI tech to build these AI factories, aren't they?
That's the really fascinating part. They're integrating incredibly advanced technologies into the manufacturing process itself. They're using NVIDIA Omniverse for digital twins. Now, for our listeners, a digital twin means creating a highly detailed, dynamic virtual replica of the physical factory and its processes. This allows them to design, simulate, and optimize the entire manufacturing line virtually before they even build it physically. They can iron out kinks, minimize waste, maximize efficiency, all in the digital realm.
Wow, designing the factory of the future using a virtual version first.
Exactly. And they're also using NVIDIA Isaac GR0T for manufacturing automation. GR0T is their foundation model for humanoid robots. So they're aiming to create highly advanced, adaptable robotic systems for the production line itself, making these factories potentially much more autonomous and flexible than traditional ones.
So this isn't just about Made in America sentiment, although that's part of it. It's fundamentally about building a smarter, more efficient, more resilient production line for AI itself, using AI.
Precisely. Think about the huge implications for supply chain resilience, especially given geopolitical tensions, and for national technological independence. This isn't just about making chips anymore, it's about mastering and securing the entire AI production line. And beyond the heavy manufacturing, CES 2025 was just packed with other innovations showcasing their ecosystem build-out. They announced something called Project Digits.
Digits, what's that?
It's described as a personal AI supercomputer. The idea is to bring high-end AI capabilities, the kind previously only accessible in massive data centers, down to the level of individuals and smaller teams or departments. Democratizing access again. They also showcased critical partnerships demonstrating real-world enterprise applications. For example, warehouse automation partnerships with Accenture and Key Ein. This shows how their core AI technology translates into tangible operational efficiencies for businesses, optimizing things like inventory management, logistics, robotic picking, and packing, making warehouses run smarter and faster.
Okay, so from a macro perspective, it seems NVIDIA clearly understands that just having the best hardware isn't enough in the long run. You need to actively foster innovation, you need to educate the next generation of talent who can actually use this stuff, and you need to integrate your technology into practical, high-impact solutions across all sorts of industries. Their NVIDIA research division seems crucial here, acting almost like an internal think tank or skunk works, driving long-term innovation.
That's absolutely right, and it's not a new thing for them. Our sources highlight nearly 2 decades of research impact. This isn't some recent initiative, it's deeply ingrained. They point to specific successful products that were directly fueled by this foundational research over the years. Things like DLSS, which we just discussed for gaming, NVLink, their high-speed GPU interconnect technology, and Cosmos, which seems to be a platform related to large-scale data processing or simulation. This history demonstrates a really consistent long-term vision for pushing the absolute boundaries of computing technology.
And they're not just keeping this research internal, are they? They seem active in the academic world, too.
Very active. They're not just consumers of academic research. They are significant contributors. They have a strong presence, publishing papers in leading AI and machine learning conferences like WACV and ICLR. The sources mention cutting-edge work like Composer protein structure generation research.
Right, you mentioned protein research before. For those of us who aren't biologists, what does protein structure generation really imply for the real world? Why is that important research?
Yeah, it sounds abstract, but it's hugely impactful. This kind of research, using AI to predict or even design the complex 3D structures of proteins, can lead to massive breakthroughs in medicine. Think designing highly targeted new drugs, understanding the mechanisms of diseases like Alzheimer's or cancer at a molecular level. It could also revolutionize materials science, allowing us to engineer proteins with specific functions, maybe for new catalysts or biomaterials. It's really fundamental science with enormous potential.
Okay, got it. So they're investing in the deep science too.
Exactly. And this commitment to science and education is echoed in their university partnerships. A key example mentioned is the Georgia Tech AI Makerspace, which was unveiled back in April 2024. This initiative specifically focuses on undergraduate AI education innovation. It's about getting powerful tools into the hands of students early on, providing them with access to powerful supercomputers and practical experience. It's described as a unique university-industry collaboration model.
So they're basically helping to build their future workforce and the workforce for the entire AI industry, feeding the talent pipeline.
Precisely. It ensures there are skilled people who know how to effectively wield these incredibly powerful AI tools they're creating. Which actually leads us to a crucial point. What kind of tangible, real-world impact has all this widespread GPU computing research and this carefully cultivated ecosystem actually had on the leading edge of AI development? What are the big wins powered by NVIDIA?
I think I know where you're going with this. They're basically running the show behind the scenes for some of the biggest names in AI, right?
You got it. The sources are very clear and direct on this. NVIDIA's GPUs form the OpenAI ChatGPT infrastructure backbone. Think about that. The generative AI phenomenon that completely took the world by storm, that's largely running on NVIDIA hardware in massive data centers. And just as significantly, they also form the Tesla self-driving technology foundation. Tesla relies heavily on NVIDIA GPUs for training the complex neural networks that power its autopilot and full self-driving features. These two examples alone illustrate their absolutely indispensable and foundational role in some of the most significant, most visible AI breakthroughs of our time. They are quite literally powering the AI revolution from the ground up, making them, in many ways, a foundational component of modern digital society.
Okay, so we've seen the strategy, the tech, the ecosystem building. All of these innovations and strategic moves have, unsurprisingly, translated into some truly eye-watering financial performance. NVIDIA hasn't just grown during this 2020-2025 period. It's absolutely exploded in value. It became one of the world's most valuable technology companies. Let's look at some of those numbers because they really do tell a story of just unprecedented scale and demand.
Indeed, they do. And these aren't just large numbers in isolation. They're numbers that demonstrate just how deeply NVIDIA has penetrated critical, high-growth sectors. They signal an almost indispensable role in the modern economy.
Right, starting with their Q1 fiscal 2026 financial results that covers the first calendar quarter of 2025. The company reported staggering revenue of $44.1 billion. Just let that sink in, for one quarter. And that was up 69% year over year and 12% just from the previous quarter. Now, for a company already at this massive scale, achieving 69% year-over-year growth isn't just good, it's almost unheard of. It showcases a level of demand that's truly off the charts.
Absolutely phenomenal growth.
And the real engine behind this colossal growth, their data center revenue, that hit $39.1 billion, up a whopping 73% year over year. That number unequivocally shows their dominance in the AI infrastructure market. It tells you that businesses, research institutions, cloud providers, everyone is rushing to acquire NVIDIA's AI muscle.
It became the must-have technology for anyone serious about AI.
Exactly. But it's also interesting that they haven't totally abandoned their roots either. Their gaming revenue is still incredibly strong. It hit a record $3.8 billion, up 42% year over year. So that proves their original core business remains robust and is still growing strongly, demonstrating that synergy between gaming tech and AI tech we talked about earlier.
They feed each other, it seems.
It really seems that way. Now, it's also important to note financial reports aren't just about the good news. They provide crucial context. That same Q1 2025 report also detailed the impact of external challenges, specifically mentioning a $4.5 billion charge for H20 inventory. That's related to the China export controls we'll discuss more. And it also noted $2.5 billion in additional revenue was blocked due to those same controls. So that's a substantial hit, right? billions of dollars, directly illustrating the very real financial consequences of these geopolitical regulations.
Yeah, that's not pocket change, even for NVIDIA. It shows the scale of the headwinds. Looking back just slightly, their Q4 fiscal 2025 results, which covers the last calendar quarter of 2024, showed that continued incredible momentum. They reported $39.3 billion in revenue, which is up 78% year over year and 12% quarter over quarter. So this consistent, massive growth trajectory, primarily driven by the AI and data center segments, alongside that strong gaming division recovery, really paints a picture of a company just firing on all cylinders during this period.
It's quite the rocket ship story.
It really is. And what's truly captivating here, looking at the financial analysis, is how these numbers aren't just large in absolute terms. They demonstrate that deep penetration into critical, high-growth sectors. This isn't some fleeting success driven purely by hype. The sources suggest it's the result of becoming technologically indispensable for the next wave of computing. When you track their real-time stock performance and look at the historical price movements from 2020 to 2025, the market capitalization growth analysis just reveals this unprecedented surge. It firmly placed them among the absolute top tier of global companies by value.
And what are the financial analysts saying about this trajectory now looking forward? Are they predicting continued growth, or are they seeing signs of a slowdown?
For the most part, the outlook remains very positive, according to the sources from mid-2025. Financial analysts in their long-term growth drivers assessment from around July 2025 directly link these ongoing AI market trends to NVIDIA's soaring valuation. They fundamentally see sustained, massive demand for AI compute power as foundational to future economic growth across many industries. Though, of course, as any prudent analysis would, they also acknowledge and assess the risk factors and market challenges that could potentially impact that trajectory. Things like competition, regulation, supply chain risks.
Sure, no companies without risks.
Exactly. But the overall narrative is captured beautifully in that WBUR media analysis from late July 2025. The title just sums it up. From video games to AI, how NVIDIA became a $4 trillion company. It really reinforces the core story we've been discussing, that pre-ChatGPT AI investment strategy vindication, the foresight, and the market timing advantages over competitors like Intel. These are seen as the strategic backbone of this staggering financial success. So what does this all mean for their global standing? Well, this level of financial performance and market influence places them not just as a leading tech company, but as a critical infrastructure provider globally. Their success, their technology, is now deeply integral to how many countries and many major industries are planning and building their future.
Okay, it definitely sounds like NVIDIA has built an almost unassailable lead in this crucial market. But even giants can face challenges, right? Are there any aspect of this dominance, or perhaps early decisions that some sources critique? Or are there any competitive threats out there that analysts genuinely believe could start to chip away at their lead, even with that formidable CETA ecosystem acting as a moat? Because, as you said, no journey to the top is without its hurdles, and NVIDIA, despite this meteoric rise, is definitely facing some significant regulatory and competitive currents now. Let's delve into that side of the story.
That's an excellent point, because you're right. Even at this scale, maybe especially at this scale, no company operates in a vacuum, particularly when you become so central to global technology and increasingly national strategic interests. One of those prominent and ongoing hurdles comes in the form of those U.S. export controls aimed primarily at China. A fairly recent development, reported around August 19th, 2025, highlights this ongoing tension. NVIDIA is developing a more powerful AI chip for China, report says.
Wait, more powerful? I thought the controls were meant to limit power.
Well, yes and no. It's complicated. This move is described as a direct response to export licensing requirements from the U.S. government. Those rules, which really came into effect on April 9, 2025, require specific licenses for exporting the highest-end AI chips, like their H20 chip designed for China, based on certain performance thresholds. So this new reported chip, the B70A, is supposedly designed to be more powerful than the currently available H20, but still engineered specifically to fall just under the performance thresholds that would trigger those strict licensing requirements. It's a balancing act.
Ah, okay. So they're trying to thread the needle, offer improved performance within the allowed limits to stay competitive in that huge market.
Exactly. They're navigating the rules, and we already saw the concrete financial impact these controls can have. Back in their Q1 2025 financial results, they reported that huge $4.5 billion charge for H20 excess inventory, basically. Chips they had produced but couldn't sell to China as planned due to the timing or specifics of the controls. And they also quantified $2.5 billion in additional revenue that was blocked in that quarter alone.
Wow. So that's nearly $7 billion in direct financial impact reported in just one quarter from these regulations.
It's substantial. It directly illustrates the real-world financial consequences. However, NVIDIA's agile response, developing this new B30A chip specifically for the Chinese market, shows they're actively working to navigate these complex restrictions while still attempting to serve what remains a crucial and massive market for them. This whole situation really underscores that this isn't just about trade figures. It's deeply intertwined with global technological leadership, complex national security concerns, and it has massive financial stakes for NVIDIA, its competitors, and the countries involved.
Okay, so that's the geopolitical angle. From a broader market perspective, how do these kinds of challenges, plus their sheer dominance, intersect with market dynamics? Is it shaping the entire global AI landscape beyond just NVIDIA's strategy?
Oh, absolutely. It's a complex dance with multiple factors at play. First, their near monopoly in AI training chips. Some reports estimate they have 80–95% market share in certain segments, is undeniably raising competition concerns globally, both from other companies and from regulators. Rivals, including big names like Intel, AMD, and a host of startups, consistently struggle to match the performance and, crucially, the comprehensive ecosystem that NVIDIA offers with CUDA. This sustained dominance naturally leads to potential regulatory scrutiny implications.
Meaning governments might step in.
Yeah.
Antitrust concerns.
Potentially. It's a significant risk factor that analysts point to. When one company becomes so dominant in such a critical foundational technology, governments often start looking very closely to ensure fair competition, prevent potential price gouging, and make sure innovation isn't being stifled. It really raises a tough, important question. How does a company like NVIDIA maintain its hard-won innovation and market leadership without inadvertently or perhaps inevitably stifling competition in such a crucial emerging field like AI? It's a difficult balance.
And what about the physical production side? We talked about them bringing some manufacturing to the U.S., but are there still vulnerabilities in their supply chain?
Yes, definitely. Beyond the competitive landscape, there remain significant supply chain dependencies. A major point of concern frequently highlighted by analysts is the TSMC manufacturing concentration risks. NVIDIA, like many other leading chip designers, is highly dependent on a single Taiwanese manufacturer, TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, for producing its most advanced, cutting-edge chips. TSMC is simply the world leader in advanced semiconductor manufacturing.
And Taiwan's geopolitical situation adds another layer of risk there.
Precisely. This heavy reliance on TSMC exposes NVIDIA and, frankly, much of the tech world to China market export control vulnerabilities in a different way, and more broadly to geopolitical supply chain security considerations given Taiwan's unique and sensitive geopolitical position. It's a delicate balancing act for NVIDIA, caught between massive global demand for its products and these complex international politics and manufacturing realities.
Okay, so they're navigating these huge geopolitical and manufacturing currents. But what about the impact closer to home on the everyday user or maybe smaller businesses trying to get into AI? Are there concerns about accessibility or pricing?
There are, and this is another area that comes up in critiques and analyses. We see recurring pricing and accessibility issues mentioned. For instance, there's been fairly consistent high-end GPU pricing criticism from the gaming community. Gamers, who were NVIDIA's original bedrock, sometimes feel priced out of the latest generations of high-end GeForce cards. And perhaps more significantly for the broader economy, the enterprise AI infrastructure cost barriers are real. Building out powerful AI capabilities requires substantial investment in these expensive GPUs and systems. This creates concerns about market accessibility for smaller organizations or researchers with limited budgets.
So there's a risk that powerful AI becomes concentrated in the hands of only a few large corporations or governments that can afford it.
That is definitely a concern that's being raised. Could it create a new kind of digital divide, an AI divide? This leads us directly into the broader social impact discussion, which Jensen Huang, NVIDIA's CEO, actually addressed quite directly in their Q1 2025 earnings calls. He made a really interesting statement positing that countries are recognizing AI as essential infrastructure, and he drew a direct comparison to foundational utilities like electricity and the internet.
Wow. Comparing AI compute to electricity. It's a bold statement about its importance.
It is, and it explicitly positions NVIDIA squarely at the center of this global AI transformation. If AI is the new electricity, NVIDIA is arguably building a huge portion of the power plants in the grid.
That's a powerful analogy. What are the broader implications, then, of AI being seen as this essential utility and NVIDIA playing such a central role in providing it?
Well, this elevated status, this centrality, brings with it immense responsibility and also intense scrutiny. It highlights the profound societal implications of their technology. It's seen as accelerating the enterprise IT infrastructure transition across virtually every sector. It's driving the AI factory concept implementation across industries. This idea that eventually every business will need to become an AI business in some way to stay competitive. And inevitably, this fundamentally changes workforce skill requirements. Industries need to adapt rapidly, and individuals need to acquire new skills to thrive or even just function in an increasingly AI-powered economy. So what does this all mean? Their technological leadership now places them right at the core of national strategic interests, global economic shifts, and fundamental questions about the future of work and society. And with that central position comes a completely new level of responsibility and public expectation. They're not just a chip company anymore.
Okay, that sets the stage perfectly. So, with NVIDIA firmly positioned at the helm, driving so much of this, where is the AI revolution headed in the next few years? What does Jensen Huang, their CEO, envision for the very near future of AI, based on the sources from CES and earnings calls?
Jensen Huang, particularly in his keynotes like at CES 2025 and in comments during earnings calls, consistently emphasizes one thing. AI is advancing at an incredible pace. He doesn't see things slowing down. In fact, he's painting a very vivid picture of where it's going next and soon. One major prediction he's making is for agentic AI mainstream adoption.
Agentic AI, what does that mean exactly?
It means AI systems that won't just passively respond to your prompts or follow narrow instructions. Agentic AI systems will be able to perform complex, multi-step tasks autonomously. They'll be able to make decisions, act on those decisions, plan, learn, and adapt to dynamic environments to achieve a goal you give them. So imagine an AI that can not only, say, draft an email for you, but could potentially manage an entire project autonomously coordinating with other people or other AI agents, scheduling meetings, gathering resources, troubleshooting problems along the way. That's the vision of agentic AI.
That sounds like a pretty significant leap beyond current chatbots.
It's a huge leap. And he also forecasts significant strides in physical AI and robotics integration. This is about AI moving beyond the screen and into the physical world.
So kind of like you were saying before, imagine a world where AI doesn't just process data streams, but interacts intelligently and adaptively with the physical world around us. Everything from smarter factories and warehouses to more capable autonomous vehicles, maybe even useful humanoid robots in homes or workplaces. This is the future NVIDIA is actively building the tools for. And we're already seeing concrete examples and applications emerging from their partnerships and product lines, aren't we? It's not just theoretical predictions.
Absolutely not. It's happening now. In the automotive and robotics space, for example, there's that General Motors collaboration on next-gen vehicles. GM is reportedly using NVIDIA Omniverse heavily for simulating entire factories and vehicle designs in highly realistic digital twins before building anything physically. They're using platforms like Cosmos, likely for managing the massive data sets involved in autonomous driving development, and the NVIDIA Drive AGX platform as the actual AI brain powering the self-driving capabilities in future vehicles. This is about embedding advanced AI deep into the mechanics of transportation and manufacturing. And then there's the Isaac GR0T Humanoid Robot Foundation model, which they unveiled at CES 2025. This is designed to be a general-purpose foundation for humanoid robots, intended to play a pivotal role in manufacturing automation applications, allowing robots to learn complex tasks and adapt to dynamic factory environments with much more flexibility than current industrial robots.
That's a massive leap, especially for industries like manufacturing and logistics that rely heavily on physical labor. What about applications for creative professionals or in the cloud?
Yeah, they're pushing hard there too. For professional visualization, design, engineering, scientific research, they have their RTX PRO Blackwell series for workstations. These are the ultra-high-end GPUs tailored for professionals running demanding simulations, CAD software, or content creation tools. They also mentioned the DGX Spark and DGX Station personal AI computers, tying back to that Project Digits idea of bringing supercomputing power closer to individual users or small teams. And the Omniverse platform continues to be central to their strategy for industrial digitalization across countless sectors, allowing companies to simulate, design, collaborate, and operate in shared, persistent 3D virtual worlds.
And all this power needs to be accessible, right? So the cloud is key.
Absolutely key. The widespread availability of Blackwell cloud instances on all major cloud providers providers, AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, Oracle Cloud, is critical. This means this immense AI computing power is globally accessible to businesses, startups, and developers without needing to build their own data centers. And these cloud instances aren't just available, they're setting records. They're achieving new MLPerf inference benchmark records. MLPerf is the industry standard set of tests for AI performance. Blackwell instances are reportedly showing something like 30x higher throughput on inference tasks compared to the previous H100 generation.
30 times faster AI processing in the cloud.
That's the claim. It basically means these cloud instances can process AI tasks like analyzing images, translating languages, or making predictions potentially 30 times faster or handle 30 times more requests simultaneously. This makes deploying large-scale AI applications far more efficient and economical. And they also highlighted the DGX Cloud Lepton Developer Ecosystem Connection, which seems aimed at making it even easier for developers using their cloud platform to access tools, libraries, and pre-trained models, fostering even more innovation on their stack.
Okay, so if we try to place all this in a broader context,
Yeah.
these applications, this vision of agentic AI and physical AI, they aren't just incremental improvements. They really represent potentially foundational shifts in how industries operate and how all of us interact with technology on a daily basis. And the industry analysts seem to agree, right? Their data center market strength assessment and NVIDIA's competitive positioning evaluation consistently place them at the absolute forefront of this transformation.
That's the consensus picture from the sources, yes. And for those listening who are deeply embedded in the tech space, maybe making purchasing decisions or developing applications, the specifics really matter. Things like the RTX 4090, 5090, A6000 comparative analysis for workstations or gaming, or understanding the nuances of Tesla A100 and L40's enterprise applications become critical for making informed hardware choices in this incredibly fast-moving landscape. Which GPU is right for which specific AI task? Those details become paramount.
It really brings us back to a critical point, doesn't it? Given this incredibly rapid pace of innovation, this deep integration of AI across so many sectors, powered so centrally by NVIDIA, what does it truly mean for our society as AI becomes increasingly intertwined with almost every aspect of our lives?
That's the million-dollar question, or maybe the trillion-dollar question now. It's not just a technical discussion anymore. It's fundamentally a societal one, a philosophical one even, that demands our ongoing attention, discussion, and foresight.
Wow. Okay, what an incredible journey we've taken through NVIDIA's transformation over these last 5 years. It's truly amazing. From a company that most people knew primarily for bringing virtual worlds to life on your computer screen, they've become the indispensable engine powering the future, the very real future of artificial intelligence. We've touched on their brilliant strategic pivot from gaming graphics to becoming the absolute backbone of AI infrastructure. We explored the revolutionary Blackwell chip and its related computing platforms technologies that are setting just staggering new benchmarks for performance and energy efficiency. We saw the astonishing financial growth that has rocketed them to the very top of the tech world. And we also looked at the complex challenges they now face, dealing with regulations, geopolitical tensions, and intensifying competition. Hopefully you now feel like you have a solid shortcut to being well-informed about one of the most impactful and frankly fascinating tech stories of our time.
And maybe this raises an important final question for you to ponder as you continue with your day, perhaps on your walk. As AI increasingly becomes what some are calling an essential utility, much like electricity or the internet was in previous eras, what new ethical and societal questions arise from the fact that so much of its foundational technology, the core infrastructure, is concentrated within a single dominant company? How might that market dominance, the necessary role of government oversight, and the overall accessibility of such powerful AI ultimately shape our collective future? How will it impact innovation itself? These are not small questions, and NVIDIA's remarkable journey puts them and us squarely in the spotlight thinking about these issues. Thanks so much for joining us on this Walk and Learn.
Indeed. Thank you for walking and learning with us today. Until next time, keep exploring.